Hello, everyone, and welcome to week 11 of English 120. This week, you're going to start as usual by watching the lecture. I've left up chapter 14 of drafting as an assignment from your Bedford researcher. That is very important. You'll be referring to this chapter throughout the week and throughout the next couple of weeks, okay, as we are actually drafting our research paper. Your research module this week is on academic ethics. This is a step further beyond our plagiarism unit that we did. So you'll need to go through the content, including watching the videos, and then take the quiz by next Thursday at 11:59 p.m. We will continue to read whose names are unknown. You're going to read chapters 21 through 24 are in section 1, and then in 25, you're going to be going to California. And I'd like you to attend the live class on Monday at 6 p.m. And that will be taped for those of you who can't attend, but please do try to attend. We do have a lot of fun, and it's a better way to learn the information in a live setting. Your body paragraphs, which will be the largest extent of your work for this week, are due on Thursday at 11:59 p.m. Plan to spend a lot of time working on these. And I'm going to go into a lot of detail about drafting and revising those paragraphs in this week's lecture. Please note that not all that information is available on the assignment in your module, so you want to pay attention to this lecture and perhaps take notes. So this is our research project. As a reminder, we are in week 11 and we'll be turning in body paragraphs. Next week, we'll move on to writing your introductions, and there's a whole format to that. Remember, we're writing introductions after we write body paragraphs because introductions are introducing the body paragraphs. And how can you introduce something that you don't already know? After your introductions, you'll be writing your conclusion and working on the flow in your paragraphs. Then you'll turn in draft 1 in week 14, and we'll set up conferences. In week 15, you'll do a self-review. In week 16, you'll do a peer review. And in week 17, you'll turn in your final draft. Here's a reminder of what's expected of you in your research paper. This is also posted under your body paragraph assignment, so you can go over that there. And a reminder of the basic structure of a research essay. There's an introduction, the body paragraphs, which we are writing this week. The introduction is where you're going to begin with a hook and grab the reader. You're going to introduce the history of the topic. You're going to frame your argument and then clearly state your thesis statement. Then in your body paragraphs, you're going to introduce several subtopics that you'll use to prove your thesis. And each body paragraph will include evidence from multiple sources to relate that prove your subtopics, and then relate your how proving that subtopic proves your thesis. Throughout your paper or as a single paragraph, you will look at the other side of the argument, the counter arguments. And then your conclusion is where you're going to restate all the main points that you've made in your paper. And we'll talk about how to write an introduction and how to write a conclusion in the next couple of weeks. Just a reminder also, and you can just start working on this as you're writing your body paragraphs, you're going to need a works cited page. And that will provide citations for any work that you refer to directly or indirectly in your work, in your paper. Then you'll have a bibliography page. Please remember, this is not an annotated bibliography. You do not need annotations for your bibliography. All you need are the citations, and that can be work that you just referred to in your research. So how do you do it? How do you draft your body paragraphs? I know you guys started working on one last week, but now you have to write them all, and that's a lot. So you want to make sure that you're working from the outline that you created, right? You want to think about writing effective paragraphs that do the work of proving your thesis. You want to use transitions and cues between these paragraphs to move your reader through the document. So to work from your outline, you've already made this plan, right, for your subtopics that you want to write about, and you think you've thought about which order you'd like to write them in, right? Go back and think about that, right, and make sure that plan works, right? And you've already listed evidence to support each of these subtopics. So go back and make sure, do I have enough evidence? Do I provide, do I rely too heavily on one source, or am I using a variety of sources? And also, is it, am I building my argument in the right order? I mean, you might want to change the order of your body paragraphs depending on your topic. So all of that is what you're working out as you're writing your body paragraphs. So what does an academic paragraph look like? You're going to be using your body paragraphs to develop central ideas around your subtopics. Your paragraph should be focused, organized, and developed. You're going to begin with a sentence that makes some sort of an assertion or offers an observation or asks a question about the area of your subtopic. And then you'll introduce your central idea with a topic sentence. The rest of the sentences in the paragraph elaborate on the topic. Typically, an academic paragraph will make at least 2 claims to support a subtopic and support those claims with evidence. Remember, you can use partial quotes, full quotes, or block quotations, but you want to use block quotations very sparingly in a paper like this. Or you can simply just paraphrase your source, but always cite your sources with last name, page number, and then in parentheticals. After you've finished with one subtopic, you'll want to transition smoothly to the next one. That's where transitions come in. So there's a whole section of our book, 230 to 231, about using translations. I'm sorry, transitions, not translations. You can translate them if you want, but using transitions. So I've provided here a table that talks about the different types of logical relationship that you're creating between the thing you're transitioning from to the thing you're transitioning to. Okay, so if you're making a similar comparison, also in the same way, just so, likewise, similarly, exception, but, however, in spite of, okay, sequence, order, time, example, emphasis, place, position, cause and effect, additional support or evidence, conclusion, summary. The transitions are used within your paragraph and between your paragraphs. So you're using transitions as the way to really use signposts within your writing to move your reader from one idea to another. So when you're going from one example to another example in your paragraph, you want to say, for example, and then consequently, right? Like that's going to say that the first thing you said is an example, and then because of that example, something else happened. Okay? So hopefully these will help you. If you have questions about transitions, a really good place to go is the Writing Center. Bring in a paragraph and say, I would like to work on transitions, and they will help you. You can also come to my office hours, and I would love to help you with your transitions in your paragraph. So how do you write with style and engage your readers? Once you've actually written your body paragraphs, you want to go back and make sure that you've used details to capture your reader's attention. So you want to bring your issues to life, right? If you're describing something, use sensory detail. Tell us what you see, you hear, you feel, right? You want to write clearly and concisely and avoid unnecessary modifiers like adjectives, okay? Like fine, many, great, somewhat, quite, sort of, lots, really, and very. Use different words that do more work to tell us more about it. Avoid unnecessary introductory phrases such as there are, there is, there have, here are, here is. These are all just words you can cut. You can even do a copy. You could do a search in your paper to see if you've used these words and get rid of them. Okay. You also want to avoid stock phrases, and here's some fixes. So if you say something like as a matter of fact, then just change it to in fact. Okay. So again, do a search in your paper to see if you use any of these words, and if you do, replace them with the ones on the right. So more ways to write with style. You want to write actively for most of your paper, and that means your sentences will be written with the subject and verb very near the beginning of the sentence. So here's an example. The passive sentence is, the novel that humanizes the Dust Bowl was written by Sonora Babb. Notice that the phrase, the novel that humanizes the Dust Bowl, that modifier, right, is not, that's not what is doing the action in the sentence. The sentence action is Sonora Babb wrote, right? Sonora Babb's the subject, and what did she do? She wrote, okay? So you want to put those towards the beginning of the sentence. So this sentence is, Sonora Babb wrote a novel that humanizes the tragedy of the Dust Bowl. Do you see how much more effective that sentence is? Because Sonora Babb is the subject, and what she did was write the verb, and they're right next to each other at the beginning of the sentence. Try to do that with most of your sentences in your writing. You want to make sure you always have a consistent point of view. Don't shift within sentences between first person, I, we, and second person, you, or third person, she, he, it, one, or they, okay? You should vary your sentence structure. There's a lot of really great information on that on page 236. And make sure you choose your words carefully. And that's a lot of information on that on page 237. So your assignment this week is you are going to be writing all of your body paragraphs for your research essay. It's a lot of writing, okay? You're going to be, each body paragraph needs to be at least 12 to 20 sentences long because you have to do a lot of work in there, right? You need at least 20 sentences really to do it. And each should focus on a central idea and begin with a topic sentence that introduces the subtopic. Each paragraph should develop and support one of the subtopics you've chosen to prove your thesis. Your paragraph should use evidence from at least 2 different sources to support the points you are making. Now, some of your subtopics are going to take several paragraphs to write about, and that's fine. You just want to begin that subtopic by introducing it in one of those paragraphs and end in the end paragraph by telling us how that subtopic, the proving of that subtopic that you've done helps prove your thesis. Then you want to make sure you run spell check, okay, before you turn in your assignment and you proofread it. Also, I highly recommend visiting the writing center with your body paragraphs. If you do, you will get extra credit. Please format your paper in Times New Roman 12-point font in MLA format. Please make sure you're doing that correctly. It is one of the fundamental things that you are supposed to know by the end of this class. Okay, finally, this week, you'll be doing a research module on academic ethics. This is just to reinforce the principles of integrity and honesty while you're using other people's quotations within your writing. Okay, it's very important. You don't want to quote out of context, and you want to make sure you cite your sources correctly. As always, you're going to click through the reading from the Bedford Researcher. You're going to read that. You're going to read the fallacy of quoting out of context. You're going to watch the video, why research matters. You're going to watch the video citing sources, and then you're going to take the quiz by Thursday, October 29th at 11:59 p.m. All right, guys, that's it for this week. As always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to help you. And you're well on your way to writing your research paper. I'm very proud of the work that you're doing. You've come a long way. Please know that also at our live meeting on Mondays, you get an opportunity to ask specific questions. So it's like another office hour. So if you are struggling right now, it'd be a very good idea for you to attend those meetings. All right, guys, keep up the good work, and I will see you online.